Iran has bought a spy satellite from China to be able to attack Israel, to be able to attack the United States, to be able to create chaos on Earth and unleash hell in the Middle East. In addition to this, here, exclusively tonight, on Estrategias Militares, China has deployed spy torpedoes. Everything that is happening, everything that is going on, exclusive footage of all these weapon systems, the full explanation of what is happening here on Estrategias Militares, your information channel, the House of Truth, the place where everything is told differently. Family, your likes, your comments, let's get started. Family, a very good evening from Spain to the world. Good afternoon to those on the other side of the ocean. Welcome to Estrategias Militares. Thank you very much for being here with us. 1:17 live on air. We're here again. We're here again. Yesterday I promised there would be surprises today, that it would be a very intense day, and it is. Iran is buying a spy satellite, no more and no less, a spy satellite from China. A satellite with photographic capability to identify, recognize, and improve Iran's attack capabilities. That's why, precisely during this war, we've seen how radars were destroyed, how fighter jets were destroyed on the ground, tanker planes were destroyed, even an AWACS. And how did a series of damage incidents occur that hadn't happened in previous Iranian attacks? A satellite that has been flying since 2024, that Iran recently purchased full 24-hour access to through a financial transaction with China. Careful, because the satellite isn't over Israel all day long. It's orbiting the Earth, and they have images from everywhere. That's what's happening right now. We'll share details here on Estrategias Militares. Thanks for being here with us. It's a pleasure. We're already at 513,000. My goodness, this keeps going up. Let's see if we reach 514,000 and keep going on that path to 1 million. It's going to be a long journey. Not impossible, there's no rush either. We have many adventures and stories ahead before reaching that 1 million. Also, super important, if you want to support our content, PayPal.me/Estrategias Militares. You can also find the MyHeritage code, which is partnering with this channel as part of a promotion, and you also have a discount here in the description. So you can recognize or learn about your ancestors, your origins, and even if you have lost relatives around the world, you can find them. So the moderators are going to post the MyHeritage code here, code AM29, so you can enjoy a promotion at an incredible price. Beyond the super chats, beyond the likes and the comments, this show is going to be crazy. Completely crazy. We're going to have Kamala Harris, who spoke a few minutes ago. We're going to have Gariba again. And I see what you're about to see now. Gariba's situation right now is the same as Larijani's before he was taken out. Or this changes. Or they realize quickly that the situation they're dealing with right now, and that looks like it's not going to get any better, either changes right now or the negotiators are going to be taken down. We also have footage of who is currently in charge. Thank you, pulling the strings in. And a very powerful piece of news. Gaza Strip Gaza Strip. The women of the Strip break the silence. The women living under Hamas rule in Gaza describe how they are victims of sexual abuse by members of the terrorist group and forced to have sexual relations in exchange for food aid, according to the Daily Mail. British newspaper. The world has heard the harrowing accounts of Israeli men and women brutally sexually assaulted in Hamas captivity. But now new and chilling testimonies are emerging from inside Gaza itself. Oh my God. What a story, family. What a story. The residents of Gaza living under Hamas rule break their silence. They describe sexual abuse by several men, sexual blackmail to get help or money, and abuse by people in positions of power. This is happening at a time when concerns are growing that the group is re-establishing control while the world's attention is focused on the conflict with Iran. Gaza. Human rights organizations in Gaza have told the Daily Mail that up to 60,000 women are vulnerable, and reports also indicate an increase in child marriages and pregnancies. Child pregnancies. In an account by a man from Gaza, whose identity must remain anonymous for his safety, he wrote, "How did he find a war-displaced widow being sexually assaulted inside a tent by a group of Hamas members? And how was he warned to keep silent?" He contacted a friend's wife. They had asked the commander of the Al-Qassam brigades for help, but he took advantage of her, she said. His behavior is shameful. We investigated the matter and found him in a tent in the Garabli area, where a group of Al-Qassam members were taking advantage of her. We informed the leadership, but they said we had to keep quiet about it. I repeat, Gaza. An elderly Gazan woman stated that the charitable organizations in Gaza are deceiving and exploiting desperate women. Another anonymous woman accused religious organizations in the Strip of sexual harassment, psychological abuse, and harassment of young women. What the hell is going on? Where is the UN? Where is everyone? Nowhere. Nowhere. Then they'll say it's the Israeli soldiers. This is terrible. This is terrible. Horrible. This is a disgrace. But the world looks the other way. We continue because there's more. There's more. The Al-Qassam brigades are the military wing of Hamas. Another man from Gaza confirmed that a similar incident had happened to one of his neighbors who was blackmailed by one of Hamas's charitable organizations. They wanted her to prostitute herself in exchange for a food package or a 100 shekel aid voucher. Another man who identified himself as a member of the Al-Qassam Brigades confirmed that this also happened to widows. The widows. He said he had informed the leadership that some members of Al-Qassam were taking advantage of the wives of the martyrs in a tent in the Garibli area, which is located in Deir al-Bala. We said it insulted our honor and dignity. He said this angrily and tore down the tent. Meanwhile, Hamas, which rejects the disarmament proposals, rules the Gaza Strip with an iron fist. Let's continue. Unfortunately, these cases are very widespread. Women are exploited, especially widows and divorced women, because they have no income support. Their vulnerability is taken advantage of, and the situation gets worse every day. A woman describes how she suffered sexual coercion in exchange for help when a religious figure began to harass her at her lowest point. It's disgusting. All of this is disgusting. The guy told him, "You can't do anything to me. I'm the government here." "60,000 women. 60,000 women. Never before has one of the world's biggest brothels been built in the Gaza we know today, with the support of international aid and charitable organizations. According to the Daily Mail, that's what's happening. This is going on. Thank you. There are accounts here of well-documented, well-substantiated rapes, which I won't read because they would be against community guidelines. But I want you to keep this in mind. The situation in Gaza is not resolved. The situation in Gaza is more evident than ever. And yes, what you're seeing is the construction of tunnels. Hamas keeps building tunnels, reopening their tunnels, improving their capabilities, and preparing for the next war. But that's not the point. It had to be said, it had to be told, it had to be reported, so that the millions of people who watch us every month know what's going on over there. Someone who also knows a lot about Gaza, apparently, and who has good knowledge of maps, is Kamala Harris. Miss Harris, what has she said?
He entered a war, got pulled into it by Bibi Netanyahu. Let's be clear about that.
Boom! He says, Trump entered a war pushed by Netanyahu. Let's be clear about this. Boom!
Not want. Americana no quiere.
He has entered a war that the American people do not want.
In risk American service members.
Putting the lives of American service members in danger.
Consequences. And among the many consequences.
And in addition to a number of other consequences, which includes
jacking up the cost of gas so that
raising the price of fuel.
On average, Americans are paying at least $15 more to fill up their tanks.
Now Americans are paying $50 more on average to fill up their gas tanks.
Diesel costs 50% more.
Diesel costs 50% more. Is this the same Kamala Harris? While women were being raped in tents in the Rafah area by Hamas. Good job remembering that frame, Kamala. She came out to say this about the Gaza mission. Kamala Horror, that's what I call her because she's horrible. She's a horror. Kamala, she told us this. We have been very clear. This was when they were still in office.
In multiple conversations.
In multiple conversations.
And anyway.
In every way, in every form.
And
cualquier mayor
military
operation in Rafah
would be a huge mistake.
It's going to be a huge mistake.
Va a ser un error. It's going to be a mistake.
Let me tell you something.
Studying maps.
I've been studying the maps. Kamala Rafah's been studying Rafah Chow's maps.
There's nowhere for those people to go.
There's no place for those people to go.
We're looking at 1.5 million people in Rafah.
We're looking at 1.5 million people in Rafah.
Because they said most of them were going to.
And they're there because we've told many of them to go there.
Clara's.
So we've been very clear.
An error, that it would be a mistake.
It's going to be a mistake, Kamala said. Horror. That if Israel entered Rafah.
Oppression or
That Israel launch any military operation in Rafah.
Would could their part. Consequences, CWOs.
There will be no consequences if Israel moves.
But let's do it step by step. But we've been very clear in terms of our presence.
But it's been very gradual. We'll go step by step. But we'll say, if we expect them to invade, we'll say invade Rafah. What happened next? What happened after that story about Kamala's maps? The horror is that they left Israel alone and without ammunition. It's the biggest battle of the Gaza war. To clear Rafah of terrorists in the largest training camp ever created by humans for terrorist groups in the open air. It's not imagination. No, it's not some invention of estrategia militares, nor anything I have against Kamala Horror or the Democratic Party. It's just that if they had simply looked at the map, and surely they have a better map than we do, they would have realized that here in Rafah, next to the United Nations warehouses, where they had taken all those people, all 1.5 million people, where they had used that entire million as human shields. There was a Hamas training camp. A training camp where the October 7th attack was prepared. A training camp from where the paramotors took off to massacre Americans at the Nova Festival. Sinister, horrible place. Training camps scattered throughout the terrain of Rafah, where Kamala Horror didn't know that Yahya Sinwar was there. And he would end up dying on the corner of a street in Tal al-Sultan. It seems that for some reason, they didn't want Israel to go in there and take out the person responsible for October 7th. It will go down in history like everything in the Democratic Party. Like everything they've been doing and everything they've done throughout their history in the United States of America. A true shame and madness. But now, family, now that we're all here, let's get to it. Let's switch gears and move on to the satellite topic. Before the war began, satellite images were leaked from a satellite that drew a lot of attention. The satellite automatically identified the type of aircraft, it identified it with artificial intelligence, and named it. These images are already published and pose no risk to military operations. They have already been published for more than 40 days, so please, relax, don't say that I'm publishing images that could help Iran. Because Iran owns the satellite. All right? Iran has the satellite, which has higher resolution than the one we have, or about the same. Here we see the number of tankers and the number of AWACS planes that are over there, just sitting out there, which Iran would later use as guidance for its ballistic missiles and drones to launch attacks against Israel and against the United States at bases in the region. These images that we are seeing were published. You can see the Chinese letters. You can see the F-22s there at the Opda base in Israel. And a bunch of images that we've been seeing all this time. Well, the story begins as follows. You're going to be amazed. Please, everyone, your likes and comments are super important. Because what we're about to tell you now is the biggest act of Chinese collaboration and interference in the war. China has essentially gifted a satellite to Iran. You heard that right. China has given a satellite to Iran as a gift. You'll be amazed by this. Let's see. We've got it around here. Here it is. Hit the music. It all starts like this. Year 2021. A company, Earth ICO, a private Chinese company in the space sector. It was dedicated to exporting China's space technology to the world. It works with several Chinese aerospace companies. This company not only manufactures satellites, it also offers complete satellite sales, satellite data, Earth images, launch systems, training, and technical consulting. Its goal is to expand the Chinese space industry to other countries. Its relationship with Iran. According to recent reports, the Tango Echo 01 Bravo satellite was manufactured and launched by Earth ICO. It was later acquired by Iran in 2024. This satellite is a high-resolution Earth observation satellite. They can see small details from space. Iran bought it after its launch, and it has dual use, both civil and military. This satellite can see targets on Earth as precisely as if it were right there. 0.5 meter resolution. It can distinguish small objects like vehicles. A 14.8 kilometer image per pass. There it is. This is an estimate we've made of this satellite's observation capacity. The Tango Echo 01 Bravo, which would be in a back orbit at 545 kilometers altitude and would complete a full turn around the Earth in 95 minutes. A satellite image with a width of 14.8 kilometers. They can make passes and scan sensitive Israeli and US sites in the Middle East every 90 minutes, but not only there. They can do it in Spain, they can do it in the United States, they can do it anywhere. The back satellite is in that orbit at 545 kilometers altitude, and it's up there orbiting, emitting signals and gathering information right now to put the defense systems of the United States and Israel in check. 545 kilometers in altitude. As we've said, it has a resolution of 0.5 meters. That allows you to see things in great detail, very, very detailed. You can practically distinguish a decoy vehicle from a real one, and it has a low orbit between 200 and 1,200 kilometers. This satellite moves at a blazing speed. Price, $36 million. It's obviously a gift from China to Iran. Iran probably didn't pay. They must have sent oil to China for free. Iran has also had access, and this is interesting because it's being talked about, to Chinese ground stations of the MPOSAT system. The systems to receive images and control it remotely. So, even if the communication antennas Iran has for the satellite are destroyed, they can still use the ones that China has around the world because they have access to its network. So, even if the system is destroyed inside Iran, they still have access through the network. Amazing, huh, family? We're live right now. Please, your likes are super important right now here on Estrategias Militares. There's more, you know? There's more. Relax. There's more. Now, of course, the question is whether it can be shut down. There's international concern. Why? China has adopted, Iran has adopted this system. A major concern. Very, very big. And watch out for the Chinese, because now they're going to come with a spy torpedo here to Estrategias Militares. All right. Speed, 28,000 kilometers per hour. Is it easy to take down this satellite? It's difficult. It moves very fast. It's only over one spot on Earth for a few minutes. It requires very advanced technology to hit it with a missile. Which missile can take this down? What kind of missile? These are dead, by the way. Cheers. Salami. Sarisadet, greetings. Greetings. Everything's good in the Virgin Islands, right? We're going to send you a satellite to see how things are going over there. Sorry, I can't help it when I see them. Siento pain in my chest and my heart because they're no longer with us and we can't let it go. Salami is gone, Sarisades is gone, and so on. These are the antennas we said Iran had. They've been moved or destroyed, but Iran still has others from China, and outside the country they can use. They can even use portable antennas in portable vehicles, hidden. My God, they're all dead. But anyway, just leave them. Let's not mention the dead or they'll get up again, and we don't want that. Satellite. Let's keep going with this. Don't laugh, okay? Please. A little respect for Salami. Now he'll be all dried up. Nice and dry. ASAT anti-satellite system. Alpha Sierra, Alpha Tango. What is that? An anti-satellite weapon. 1999. That's when this type of missile began to be openly developed. It had existed before. During the Cold War, the USSR conducted the first experiments with satellites that destroyed other satellites. China also did this in 2007. January 11th, launching a missile at an old satellite that was analyzing the weather. No. Do anti-satellite missiles exist? No. Do they exist? There it is. What's happening? What's the problem? Why isn't it being shut down? Well, now we have a problem, family. We are in the year 2026, and there are thousands and thousands of satellites in low Earth orbit. For communication systems like Starlink, like GPS, like a bunch of systems necessary for our daily lives. and the United States of America. They were to launch a missile at a little gadget that's going around and taking pictures of all the military targets. The remains, the debris from that satellite could destroy more satellites, turning them into space junk. And it could trigger a chain reaction that might leave us without communications in some parts of the Earth. Which means the issue is much more complex than it seems. Still, I understand that groups of hackers from the Electronic Warfare Division, they'll be working to try to hack the system, divert it and make the satellite fall. But there's another problem. The satellite officially belongs to China. If the United States of America shoots down the satellite, what the hell could happen? Let's look at the image. This would be the launch of that missile from the ground, which can also be launched from the air. I remember that the F-14S could launch them back in the day. Anti-satellite missile. When the satellite explodes, debris and fragments are produced. All those metal fragments spinning around at a speed of 28,000 kilometers per hour would destroy everything in their path. It's very dangerous nowadays to carry out an operation like this. So, for now, Iran's satellite is safe up there. They're not stupid. I've always said it. They're smarter than we think. Map showing Earth and its satellites. 3 orbits, low, medium, and high. We are surrounded. It's hard to believe they returned to Earth recently, given how many satellites are up there. I'll just leave it at. And if that wasn't enough, pay attention to what a fisherman in Indonesia has found. Let's play some mystery music. What a fisherman in Indonesia has found in the waters. There are places in the world, the Strait of Hormuz, for example, the Strait of Gibraltar, the Strait of Malacca, or some areas of Indonesia where nations like China, the United States, Russia, etc., need information about what is happening. Nowadays, the movement of fleets, like the one that is moving now from the Pacific to the Persian Gulf, as for the Boxer group, they need to track it, know how many submarines are with it, and get real-time information. Well, then pay attention. Objects like these are found in the waters. What you're seeing right now. A spy torpedo. We're going to look at more photos, more images, and we're going to tell you what this is. Incredible. The story is incredible. We're live, family. Let's go for it. Here are the photographs. This was anchored to the bottom of the sea. It had been left by China in a strategic location, one of the most important places for global security. Here we see how a net has gotten caught on that torpedo, which has obviously been modified. They dragged it up, and when they brought it to the surface, oh, surprise, look what we've got, what we've caught. They must have been amazed. It must have been incredible. Well then, what is this? What is this for? It has been confirmed that the device is a type developed in China and tested in the mid-2010s. Where on our blessed planet has this been found? Let's go to the map. Here. Let's zoom out. And this is not good news for Australia or for the United States of America. Adios. You know that submarine transits have to be done in suitable places. That's it. Here. In this narrow passage, that fisherman was dragging the Chinese device that was spying on the movements of the military fleets of NATO, the United States, and Australia in the waters. Like this one, there must be more devices secretly deployed in all the straits of Indonesia, in the Strait of Malacca, everywhere. But it could be even worse. China could now have weapon systems deployed in strategic locations that can be activated to sink ships as needed. Incredible, right? All of this seems incredible, but it's not. This isn't a movie. No. Well, the object that was developed by Research Institute 710 belongs to the Construction Industry Corporation. Naval China, currently Charlie Sierra Charlie. The institute focuses on submarine attack and defense, known as the Real-Time Transmission Mooring System for Deep Waters. It was tested in 2016 by the Institute of Oceanology of the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Reportedly, it achieved 190 days of real-time deep-sea data transmission in the Western Pacific. It may have been manufactured by Qingdao Haishan Marine Technology. This is not confirmed. One of the companies in the most important industrial zone in China. The sensor located in the central area with 4 windows is a 300 kHz acoustic Doppler current profiler that measures the current. The system can be installed in waters with depths ranging from 200 to 4,000 meters. The device is anchored to the seabed using an anchor connected by ropes that pass through rings at both ends of the body. The device found is the main body of the sensor, which essentially consists of a moor buoy, referred to in the text as the main buoy, that floats between 80 and 300 meters deep. In one example, it was floating at 140 meters. The main sensor package, 2 acoustic Doppler current profilers to measure the current, a conductivity, temperature, and depth sensor, an acoustic sensor to collect information about sound and the target. It can remain operational for up to 12 months with internal batteries. To communicate with the base, it can release communication, buoys with reusable cables or single-use wireless ones, which float to the surface. These buoys are arranged on its back, and according to a cursory analysis of the images, the specimen that was found is missing a couple of these buoys. Which means the little device had been sending information to China. Communication buoys were missing. All this is mind-blowing. All of this and what we're seeing is mind-blowing. We're live right now, folks, discovering the secrets of China and Iran and what's being prepared on a global level. Amazing. Careful, because this isn't over. Indonesian authorities are likely concerned about finding a Chinese sensor buoy in the area. This suggests that China might have a network of these sensors that would provide real-time information about underwater conditions in strategic maritime routes, making their submarine operations easier in the event of a war. Comments? There are things we still don't know, things we don't realize. But imagine that these systems, I'll give you an example, just one example. Imagine that there are systems like this that can be controlled, that maybe in a country like Spain, they're placed along its coast with electronic warfare systems. Systems that are capable at any given moment of being activated and can cut off communications across the whole country. For example, what seemed impossible to us 10 years ago, 5 years ago, now isn't. There are weapons we don't know about, that we just hear rumors about here and there. And they're very dangerous, more dangerous than a nuclear weapon, without a doubt. Imagine, for example, that this actually happens. An underwater drone is deployed and starts cutting the internet cables in the sea. We would all be left without military strategies and quite a few other things. The card payment system isn't working. The communication system isn't working. Nothing is working. That can happen. In fact, the Houthis, during the war in the Red Sea, cut one of the internet cables. How did they do it? How did they reach that depth? Did they use equipment to destroy it? We don't know. Some claim ships position themselves above, drop anchors, drag them along the seabed, and break the cable. Well, if they want to tell us that, we'll have to believe it. Maybe it wasn't the Houthis, and it was someone who's building military bases in Africa. Because yes, while we're here talking and discussing what's happening in the Middle East and what's going on, there's a country called China that's building military bases all along the coast of the Red Sea. In these countries, they're building ports in exchange for cash. And the generals who control those countries, like in Sudan, Egypt, and many other places, don't care about giving land to the Chinese so they can set up their base of operations there. There are Chinese bases in Africa's interior. So we already know that the expansion is real and that China is trying to expand throughout the world. So we will have to take all these details into account for the future. Now, let's move to the letters from Iran. Donald Trump could be willing to resume fighting
within 24 to 48 hours. Tonight, Donald Trump is going to make a decision, a historic decision. What's going to happen? What's going to occur? Okay, nobody knows. Nobody knows. What does Galibar say? The man who's already got a target on his back, and more, the signs keep pointing to him. Let's see. Messages from Galibar. Galibar's memoirs, we could say. Let's get to it. Fun. We are not militarily stronger than the United States. It's clear that they have more money, equipment, and resources. Because they've committed so many acts of aggression around the world, they have more experience than us. The Zionist regime, the servant and agent of the United States in the region, also holds significant power. We fought in a symmetrical war in such a way that with our own planning and preparation, we pushed the enemy back. The enemy had money and resources, but they did not act correctly in planning. They make mistakes in strategic decisions, and they are wrong about our people, just as they are wrong in their military planning. The United States government claims that America first is important to them, but in practice they have shown that Israel comes first for them, because they make decisions based on false information coming from Israel. This is what Galibar says. Keep in mind that this sinister being is the same one who is negotiating a peace process with Iran. He also appeared on the previous program saying death to the United States. It's the same guy. It's not some... The enemy sought regime change and to turn this into Venezuela in order to auction off our oil, but they failed. We are fully prepared, and if they make the slightest mistake, we will respond with force. Galibar says, they will respond with force. Meanwhile, the United States Navy is preparing in the coming days to board sanctioned crude oil tankers linked to Iran and seize vessels.
Next few days, everything is going to heat up.
Very intense. The Revolutionary Guard, we will target any vessel that leaves the anchorage area in the Persian Gulf or the Gulf of Oman and approaches the Strait of Hormuz. Galibar, I am ready for martyrdom. We are ready both to shed blood and to endure great hardships. Very well, Galibar, we are glad that you are ready for the journey you are about to begin. Nosotros, we have not destroyed the enemy. They still possess money and weapons, but strategically they have been defeated compared to us. Us. The enemy failed in the various plans they had, like destroying the Air Force and missile capability, destroy the Navy, launch a ground attack, and open the Strait of Hormuz. In all of this, the enemy failed. Galibar, what do you think will happen to Galibar? People in the chat, drop your comments. What's going to happen to Galibar? What's going to happen to Mr. Sinister? Welcome, Maria. Thank you very much. Causa, welcome. Welcome. Deborah, thank you very much. John, Where is Greta to denounce the abuse of 60,000 women in Gaza by Hamas? Incredible. The news we've read is a real shock.
It would be enough to make a whole show just about that.
We will do it. Quesking, thank you, Estrategias Militares, for the great work you are doing. Thank you for being here, my friend. Thank you for your likes. Gloria, thank you very much. Evelyn. Shalom, dear brother. I believe God put you here and you will stay. You are a spearhead and a prophetic voice for our time. You are a great blessing. Thank you, Evelyn. No interest in being a prophet of anything. I believe we are in a moment of history. Fascinating, definitely, for the vast majority of this planet. We are experiencing news that is devastating as a race, as human beings. And I think we need to tell the truth about what's happening before it's too late and the world doesn't realize where we are right now. I firmly believe Israel must build its own military arsenal to avoid dependence. Nectarine, 100%. Is it possible to take down the satellite? We've explained it to you. Hacking it, disabling it, diverting it from orbit, or destroying it can be done, but it's dangerous. Lozanidas, the best channel, no doubt. Kamala horror, great strategies, despite how disgusting all of this is. Even Zaragoza makes us laugh with you. Long life Spain. It's Kamala horror. She's a real woman. Intellectually, she has nothing. She doesn't contribute anything. She's very slow, as my mother would say, she's very slow because she doesn't know how to express herself. She doesn't know how to speak. I don't know how she got there. Honestly, I don't know. In the party, in this American Democratic Party disaster, I have no idea how Kamala Horro got there. But anyway, there she was. That lady and Joe Biden have done a lot of harm to Israel. A lot of harm. With Hezbollah's defeat and Israel's full support, Lebanon will regain its sovereignty, a historic peace treaty, and real cooperation. To defeat Hezbollah, you have to fight against them, not negotiate. A peace treaty comes after there is no more war. On September 13, 1985, an F-15 successfully tested an anti-satellite missile. I should have moved forward. Absolutely, 100%. This 100%, Pablo, at least it seems like this war is going to die down. God willing, the fighting won't start again. The fury of the Lord of the island cost humanity too much. I don't understand anything. The fury of the Lord of the island cost? I don't know, Pablo, but it's not going to die down. I'm sorry that your expectations aren't going to be met. On the contrary, they're going to grow. Estrategias Militares, thanks for everything. On March 26, Al Jazeera reported the possible use of Chinese satellites by Iran, possibly Baidu's satellites. Well, it was known that Iran was obtaining images that had started appearing weeks earlier, which we had never seen before, and that were being leaked. Strategically, esto del famoso satélite Mizar Vision, what we're seeing here, was being leaked. The thing is, it's only now become news because it's been confirmed that, yes, China officially sold or gave the satellite so the Iranians can play at launching missiles wherever they want. Fanny, thank you so much, Estrategias, for so much information around the clock. That's right. 24 hours. Look at what we've achieved. They're holding meetings with former Hamas prisoners in Argentina. I read about it. I've read something about them bringing Hamas members to hold meetings in Argentina. Can someone tell me more about this? That's the third person to mention it to me. They're bringing in terrorists who put bombs in washing machines. I don't know what kind of sick people would bring someone like that to Argentina, but we hope they'll be arrested as soon as possible by Milei's government. Pastor, thank you very much. Kenneth, Kamala slow or maybe both, I'd say. I don't know. Slow, definitely. Very slow too. They're holding conferences. They have to pile Milei. Educational talks. Educational talks? What? They must be scary talks, right? Like horror. No, I imagine that Milei can give the order to arrest these guys who are terrorists. Yes, the Buenos Aires province governor is a communist from the Kirchnerist branch, but during Cristina's government, they made deals with Iran, Cuba, and Venezuela. Well, I don't know what kind of terrorist talks these guys are going to give. I don't know what they're going to go there to say. We don't know. Imagine that. They're dead and not going anywhere. What an ugly smile, my God. Ugh. 4 women of Gaza who are in the tents being, according to the Daily Mail, abused by these kinds of monsters. They must be terrified. We have to free Gaza. My God, she looks like a demon. How horrible. Oh my God. We have to free Gaza. We have to free Gaza, seriously, urgently. This is a very complicated issue, family. If this whole story is confirmed, what would surprise us at this point? Let's see. Let's see. Image of Gaza. Careful with this, we're entering tricky territory. Swampy too, and muddy because there's a lot of mud here. That's Gaza. It's the law. No, the law of madness, right? No. What people experiencing? It's something that has to end. Right now, the IDF is in the same place since the ceasefire began in October 2025. Nothing has changed, there's no disarmament plan, and no one has gone to disarm them. That international mission they were going to send from different countries, including Spain, I don't know who they were going to send from Spain. Maybe they were going to send Pedro Sánchez. He was going to go, gracias. Sánchez was going to go personally to take away their weapons. We don't know. Thank you. Well, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think that's going to be the story, right? But anyway, what do we do? Nothing can be done. How are you going to do anything if they know what they know and do what they do? Gaza. They eliminated everyone. October 7th, by the way. 7 de octubre. On that date, in October, when I was in Israel this year, on one of my trips, I was recording with Ariel Kaniewski, Son of History, a report with geolocations and videos. Geolocations and videos of these same places that you are seeing. These monsters you are seeing here, so brave and so courageous against an ambulance, firing an anti-tank rocket at them. All those kinds of crimes I remember. And also, Ariel, if you're watching us,
Ariel, do you remember when we were walking around here in Sderot, discussing what happened at this roundabout with this video? It's terrible. It's terrible. These are things that the world hasn't wanted to remember, or that they don't want to see, or that they don't want to realize. But what is happening in Gaza, what is in Gaza right now, is hell. A hell that must end for the good of the people of Gaza, for the good of the whole world, for the good of anyone with even a minimum of humanity. The tragedy and torture of the people of Gaza must end by a terrorist group called Hamas. And they don't like you to talk about that. Julia, they don't like you to talk about those things. It bothers them. They point fingers at you. They threaten you, or worse. In short, family. And we're going to keep going without fear of anything. Always speaking the truth. Whatever it is, no matter what it costs, however it has to be. So, Iran could keep 40% of its drone arsenal and 60% of its ballistic and cruise missile launchers field, with more than 100 systems that had been buried inside caves and bunkers as a result of US attacks. And by Israel, Iran has unearthed those systems over the last 2 weeks, those systems, and they are now available. So that once again, the good people of Israel have to sleep in shelters until someone at some point decides to put an end to this. Family, thank you so much for being here live with us. On Estrategias Militares, we'll see you in the next program. Greetings.